Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Founders Showcase featuring leaders and innovators within the Web3 and blockchain community. My name is Andrew, and I'll be your host for the evening. Tonight, we're super excited to showcase the builders of Web3 and learn how your wallet can connect you to the next generation of great apps. Before we dive into our feature companies, I'll be taking a few minutes to walk everyone through wallet setup tutorial. So whether you're a crypto enthusiast or just getting started, this tutorial is for you. Once we've gone through each of the tutorials, we'll hear from each of our featured companies, namely Made for Gamers, Kiligo, ZK Space, and Certic. I believe we might even have Andromeda on the call today. Each of these companies brings a unique perspective and set of solutions to the blockchain space, and we're excited to hear from their founders and leaders about their latest products and developments. Before we dive into everyone's individual product and tutorial, could each of the speakers please introduce yourself and share a bit of a background on how you got started into the Web3 space?
Who wants to kick it off? Or should I just jump in? Hey guys, Paul David. I got into Web3, or back then I suppose it was called blockchain or crypto, in 2017. I had a friend who did an ICO, and I'd been familiar with a little bit of the technology prior to then, but never really got into the industry. So that was kind of the first time that I looked at it really closely, and we started building a stablecoin solution, which we didn't end up taking to market, but that was kind of my foray into the space, and now kind of focused more in the gaming vertical, which is something that we're quite passionate and excited about. That's it.
Yeah, so I think Paul's going to be presenting first. I'll be presenting second. Maybe we can just go third, fourth, just to keep the rhythm going. I got into crypto, blockchain, whatever you want to call it, in 2017 as well. In November of 2017, when it got really hyped up and that was the top of the market. So I bought a little bit of Bitcoin with Coinbase's app. They made it really easy. And then the market died down. And unfortunately, I didn't consistently stay involved with the space. I got a job working for a cruise line doing software development. And that's where I worked for about 3 years. And then the COVID passed through and kind of crushed the cruise industry. They literally, like overnight, were shut down. They were mandated to be shut down because they were kind of like a hot spot for COVID spreading. And crypto picked back up in about 2020. That's when, had that crazy, stupid bull run that, everything was pumping like crazy as far as the coins and the gains and stuff like that. So probably threw in a little bit too much money, but still happy and love the space. And I love, kind of like the ethos of what it's all about and stuff like that. And I've gotten a couple of jobs here and there working for different projects. And most recently, I'm applying to a few grants in the Algorand ecosystem. So in the past 6 months, I've won 2 awards from Algorand that amount to about like $5,000 or $6,000. Algorand's paid for like a 4-day trip for me to go to Dubai, which was really nice. And then now I'm applying to one of their grants for $25,000. Hopefully I get that. And then next year they have a follow-up grant for $125,000. They're going to choose the best projects that they give the initial $25,000 to. And then after they give the initial round of $25,000, next year they're going to choose the best projects and give a second round of $125,000. So that's kind of like one thing I'm targeting, and that's going to be why I'm speaking so much about or showing so much Algorand related stuff when I do the demo. But excited to be here and excited to see everybody's projects and meet everybody.
Super, super cool. I don't see a couple of the other speakers that we have, unless I'm mistaken. But Rahul, I think you're also speaking tonight?
Yeah, I am working on Andromeda. Also looking for grants, so Tad, maybe I'll hit you up for some advice. But yeah, I got involved in the space in 2020. I've always generally been interested in online communities and the creator economy, and sort of got into social tokens and DAOs back in 2020 when that sort of bull run was starting up super late in 2020. And I got into a few fellowships, started my own DAO last year, and just I'm a student right now, so got involved in a lot of different student clubs, conferences, met a ton of different people. And right now I'm working on DAO tooling, which is focused very heavily on delegates and providing them with data. Excited to share what I've been working on. And yeah, I just sort of am very optimistic about DAOs and organizations and empowering them with blockchain data. So yeah, excited to meet all you guys, and yeah.
Super dope. I guess just by a show of hands, before I jump into the Web3 wallet setup and tutorial, I'm assuming most people here are familiar with wallets. But does everyone have a Near wallet, or are people missing a Near wallet? I don't want to run through the tutorial if we have everyone with the wallet. I see one. If everyone could just like thumbs up or just show an emoji if you have a Near wallet. If you don't, then we'll walk through it. If we all do, we can skip right over it. Cool. So we have one person doesn't have it. So Tad, I will walk through getting a Near wallet. Let me get shared screen super quick. Oh, I think it's disabled for me. If everyone
I got you. Yeah, just post the link and I'll give you a share screen. Yep.
If everyone could hit that near.org link I just dropped into the chat, I can walk everyone through getting a Near wallet. Just for the sake of this call, I'll assume that everyone is also familiar with just Web3 wallets in general. But I'll show everyone the basics and walk over, I guess, each of the components that you should be familiar with. Yeah, without further ado, let's set up a Near wallet. So if everyone did it correctly, you should be on this screen over here. When you go to near.org, in the top right-hand corner, you'll see the create account. But if you haven't heard of Near, they're essentially a layer 1 protocol, similar to Ethereum in a sense. And it's a proof of stake network, meaning there's no mining, and it has super fast transaction speed. And they're also a sponsor of today's call. If you go to the top right-hand corner, you can click the create account button. Essentially, if you look in my top right, you'll see that there is an account connected, but for the sake of this call, we'll pretend that isn't there. Essentially, you can have a custom Near address. So this could be your gamer tag if you're into gaming, or this could be your handle, like your Twitter, or something else that you prefer, like your email handle, essentially. For the sake of this call, we'll just do test Near Youni. Congratulations, your test Near Youni .near account is available. If this is showing red for you, it basically means that someone else already claimed that handle. In our case, it shows it's green, so we're good to go. But if it is red, you ultimately have to change your name into something that's unique. There are a couple character IDs that you can't use, but we'll just walk through the wallet tutorial from here. There are two security methods that you can pick. The first one being a secure passphrase. So that's the easiest way to do it on our call today. Essentially, that's just generating a virtual key for you. And if we pick the hardware wallet, if you have one at home, I'd say like a Trezor wallet or a Ledger, you could use that later on, but for simplicity's sake, we'll walk through with the secure passphrase. Essentially, right here, when you get to this screen, if everyone's following along, let me know if I should slow down. You basically get a seed phrase. And this is like your last resort, your backup in case you forget your password, you can't get into your account, and you need access to your account. This is something that you ideally want to copy down and put into a safe place. You can either copy digitally, which I wouldn't usually recommend, or write it down. So in this case, because we are doing this on the call for everyone, I'll just copy it over into my clipboard, and then we can see that each of the words basically corresponds to a number. The first word is feed, the second is sibling, and 3 is can. You get the idea, but essentially these words all correspond to a specific order, and we'll be asked for them later on as a test. And this can be used later on to get back into your account. Jake, do you have something to say?
Nope, let's just get through it, get everyone's wallet, and we'll get into the demos. Yep.
Cool. So I think everyone kind of gets it. If you're familiar with Web3 wallets, you know what seed phrase is. So let's run right through it. So now it asks us to verify your phrase, and realistically, this is just proving that you actually wrote it down. So if I can count, 1, 2, 3, 4. Our 10th word is battle. Hopefully I didn't mess that up. Once we verify and complete, we can essentially, if you have an account already, it'll show this right here. But if you don't, it should give you, it should streamline you right into the next screen. And essentially you'll need to fund it with some Near. In my case, I already have an account here, so we'll just click through, but if not, you'll basically have an account set up. Should take you to the next screen. Test near uni.near. In this case, I'm funding it really, really quickly just for the sake of the call. But otherwise, you need to figure it out. Essentially, like you'll be presented with this screen. And it's really that simple. You keep a copy of your passphrase, your username, and you have a wallet. I hope that makes sense. Is everyone following along? If there's anyone that's falling behind, please ask questions now.
You can just shoot Andrew a DM if you need like test Near sent to you or want to know how to do Near faucet. Also, for a non-named Near account, you can actually register for free, or you should be able to. So just DM Andrew during the demos if you want to help with that. Again, you did a collectible POAP for coming today. If you do boast your wallet in chat, I'll send that to you too. So thanks for everyone and for Near for kind of helping us put this together.
Awesome. I guess without further ado, we'll go into the speaker series of our call. Just a reminder, just DM me if you guys have a problem. I'm always happy to chat and help you out. I believe, Tad, you're first and Made for Gamers, if that's okay with you.
I thought Paul was going to go first, but I'm happy to go first. If
you're first on my screen. Paul, it's up to you two, whoever wants to go first, if it's up for grabs.
Yeah, according to the agenda, we have Made for Gamers first. According to the agenda, we had set out Andrew. So let's do Made for Gamers first, Callie, go, ZK Space, and then Certic, and then Rahul with his company Andromeda will be last. So that'll be the orders today. So 15 minutes a panelist. Again, try and demo, try and do some Q&A, keep the audience engaged. But it's your time, guys. Good luck.
No worries. Thanks for walking us through the wallet, Andrew. I must admit, with this tech, it's definitely progressed and become a lot more user-friendly over the years. It was terrible when I initially got into this space, and I think the nice thing about Near is there's quite a few interesting tools coming out, like KeyPom and ShardDog, that makes it even easier for you to open the wallet if you if you're not familiar with this technology. So. Very helpful. We're actually putting together a tutorial about creating a wallet as well. We're hosting a game jam or hackathon at the end of this month, which kicks off at the end of the month. So we wanted to make it quite simple for people to know how to do that. All right, I will quickly share. Can I share something on my screen? Maybe as a participant, it's not allowing me to do so right now.
Andrew, I made you host. If you could just pass host along to Paul, and then Paul can pass it along to Tad when he's done, that would work great.
Yeah,
cool.
I think I just gave access. Can you double check?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Didn't realize while I was speaking, so here we are.
All good. So look, I'll give you just a quick background as to what Made for Gamers is and why we're doing what we're doing. So my co-founder and I, we both initially wanted to build a game, and we approached gaming with a vision of making it more equitable and more sustainable. We've both been playing a lot of free-to-play games, and we like free-to-play games, but we don't like this kind of pay-to-win method and culture and a lot of the toxic behaviors that actually stem from that. So JP and I got together, we wanted to build something new, and we've been looking at Web3 to kind of solve some of these problems in actual gameplay. So we didn't set out to build a blockchain game or a play-to-earn game. We really just wanted to build a new type of grand strategy MMO mobile game, and we wanted to make it possible for players to do trustless transactions between each other. Simple things like, in a lot of these games, if you're going to bot farms, you're having to go off platform from the game and then do a trust-based transaction. Somebody sends you their PayPal details or whatever the case may be. You're sending them money. There's no guarantee they're going to rock up and give you whatever resources you just bought from them, etc. So those are the type of things that we wanted to kind of solve in gaming. What we did is we kind of started looking at the market with regards to what tool providers are out there. So anything from SDKs to APIs, all the way through to, you know, which type of wallets you should be using, non-custodial, custodial, chain agnostic or chain specific, etc. And that process for us was very, very difficult in the sense that it took a huge amount of time researching all these various providers, trying to vet which were actually legitimate. A lot of the stuff was I'm not going to call it vaporware, but a lot of the stuff had really, really good marketing, but very little substance. When you kind of scratched underneath the surface, you notice that the documentation just was completely lacking. And a lot of the open source projects had not had contributions to their core, in some cases for years. So we were kind of sitting there thinking, okay, well, this isn't great. We need this stuff ourselves, but at the same time, if this is what the landscape looks like, why don't we actually start building something in this space? So we actually started building the foundations for a SDK, and we wanted to make something that was going to be kind of chain agnostic and just make it easy for game developers to build games. And at that point in time, we actually joined an accelerator program. So the Outlier Ventures Filecoin Basecamp, this was beginning of last year. And during the accelerator program, we actually realized that we weren't really solving this problem that we'd experienced. We were just adding to it. We were just building another tool where there's already this huge landscape of different tools and infrastructure providers out there. So that's when we kind of realized, okay, hang on, maybe what we should be doing is we should be creating a platform where game creators can find the right tools, the right infrastructure, the right service providers, no matter what stage of their game creation journey they're at. And if we can then partner with these providers and give them a new channel to market, kind of becomes a real win-win. They're able to find their customer base, but at the same time, their customers are able to find the actual tools that they need. So that was the beginning of what we're now calling MFG Nexus, which is an aggregation platform. And we started initially with a chain agnostic approach. So we were just kind of looking at different technology providers within our own network and kind of extended network, and trying to onboard what we perceive to be quality providers. And we then started talking to some ecosystems, and specifically one particular layer, it was a layer 2 that we spoke to. They had a situation where their team was having to put a huge amount of time into hand-holding game studios that were wanting to build in their ecosystem. And not just hand-holding from a technical point of view, but also introductions to the relevant ecosystem members, whether that was, as I say, SDK providers or whatever the case may be. And it wasn't sustainable for them because they had hundreds, if not thousands, of studios and individual developers coming to them. So we realized quite quickly, actually, maybe what we should be adding onto this is ecosystem specific. We call it integration layers, but really where it makes it very easy for different technology providers from a particular blockchain ecosystem to integrate into our platform, and then make it really easy for a game creator that wants to potentially build in that particular ecosystem to get access to all of the tools and service providers that they want from that particular ecosystem, and then know that there's interoperability and everything plays nice. So that actually led us to NEAR. We applied for a grant from NEAR towards the end of last year, and we literally Friday next week we launched a game jam, which is a NEAR focused game jam or hackathon, whatever you want to call it. And that's kind of the alpha launch of our entire platform, but we're going live obviously with a NEAR focus initially. But I'm quickly going to just take you through this PDF. As I say, the team said to me I'm not allowed to do any live demos because they're constantly busy with stuff, so apologies. So anyway, we wanted to make it simple from a user point of view, so we didn't want to have different kind of logins, etc. when you log into the platform. So you're a user, you can log in or sign up. We've got single sign-on, and I'll get down to, all of the basics in a moment, but I kind of just want to take you through a bit of a user journey. So let's assume in this case you are a game creator, you've come onto our platform, you've signed up, you're going to start a game project, you're going to choose a particular feature that you want, or multiple features, and then ultimately at the other end of that feature there was a tech provider that had also gone through the platform and created a project, created specific features. Whether that is API driven or not doesn't really matter, but ultimately there's somebody that's brought this technology to us. We've taken the approach that we're not building proprietary tools. If there's somebody else that's already done it and doing it well, we'd rather partner with them and be an extension to market for them. But really what we are doing in the back end is obviously, other than just providing this via technology platform, we're providing feedback and data to the actual technology service providers. We aim to help mature their products, their documentation, etc., as well as helping them put together education material. We've created a vanilla kind of asteroid shooter arcade style open source game. It's called Iterium, and the idea with Iterium is that as we onboard new technology providers, we're going to be forking Iterium and integrating their tech into the game to be able to show that as a use case or case study at least for game creators that want to potentially work with this technology. They can see how it's put into a game, really plain and simple. And then as on the other side, obviously, as far as the actual game creators are concerned, later on in our roadmap, we're looking at 2 additional phases, which kind of helps them launch their games and then ultimately distribute them. But we are very much an aggregator, so from that point of view, we'd actually be working with other third-party marketplaces as well as other gaming communities, which is something that we've kind of been building slowly but surely an ecosystem from day one. But I'll take you through, as I say, it's screenshots, so it's boring, it's not interactive, but what we try to do is we try to make it as simple as possible for people that aren't familiar with Web3 to be able to kind of, sign up to our platform as well. So hence why you've got good old-fashioned Google authentication, or even just being able to sign up with an email address. The reason is a lot of our target audience is actually Web 2 game developers that are moving into Web 3. That's the whole point why we want to create this platform, is to make it easy for them. So as we've just seen on this call, a few people don't have Near wallets. So, it's, if we're obviously focusing on Near initially, now we wanted to not have that as a blocker, but ultimately, later down the track, there would be a requirement for them depending on what they're doing. But really simple UI at this stage. Bear in mind, this is an alpha. This is literally the first baby that's being launched next week. So it's going through testing right now, but very simple. As I say, as a user, you don't have multiple roles. You're just a user of the platform. Create a project. In this case, we are creating, let me just zoom in a bit more, otherwise you can't see here. We've created a project title, choosing a project, whether it's a game or a technology. In this case, we chose game. Hence, as I say, alpha, the categories that are showing here are actually meant to be for the tech providers, so it's the wrong categories. But anyway, imagine that says mobile game, WebGL, whatever the case may be. And similarly for, the technology provider, add a new feature, provide documentation links, API keys, etc. So very simple to use is the aim of what we're trying to do here. And as I kind of said before, what we're doing right now as far as this initial launch is Near focused. So we've got quite a few partners from the Near ecosystem, as well as actually having quite a few that we're bringing to Near that have kind of had Near on their roadmap as far as ecosystems that they want to explore. But because Near's pushing heavy into entertainment in general, it's becoming quite attractive, obviously, for quite a few of these groups to kind of jump in. But yeah, sorry that I can't show you anything more exciting than screenshots at this stage, but ultimately we're just here to help game developers build their games more quickly and get to market more quickly, and remove some of the stress and kind of anxiety of having to research Web3 technologies if they've not been familiar with the space before. So thanks guys, that's it from me.
I guess that segues into Tad first.
Yeah, so let me try sharing my screen. Yeah, I can do it, right?
Yeah,
I can see
you can see your screen.
All right, awesome. So Caligo is hosted on caligo.io. It's live. So let me paste the link in here. And any and all feedback is more than welcome. So where do I find trying to find the chat? Where is it? I might post it in after. I can't find the chat right now.
I can drop it in for you.
There we go, chat. There we go. There we go. All right, so there it is. Yeah, if you click that, it should take you over to this. Yeah. All right, let me stop sharing my video so that it's a little bit smoother. Where do I do that? Haha, excuse me. If I drop down, there we go. So stop I'm hoping this doesn't stop the screen share. Stop video. Stop video. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me still.
You're good.
Yeah. All right, cool. So did I stop my video? No.
You're good. You're sharing screen.
Okay, cool. I stopped my camera. All right, cool. So hopefully you can share my screen. You can see my screen still. It says Caligo contracts for the masses. Trying to get this out of the way. All right, sorry. OCD. I'm like, everything has to be like out of the way. My bad. All right, cool. All right, we'll just go with this for now. So you would come to Caligo, right? This is the landing page. Pretty straightforward. I have a pitch deck linked at the bottom. If you're interested to check out the pitch deck, some people enjoy that. This is the team that has touched the code base so far. It's myself and a developer in India by the name of Manan. And the thesis behind Caligo is along the lines of what Paul, I'm saying this right. Yeah, of what Paul is doing. It's adding tooling. It's making this industry or this technology more approachable. So instead of relying on coding skill and deep knowledge of how the different algorithms work, you just give people easy user interfaces that make it easy to interact with the different systems, right, in this space. So of course, the biggest system as far as programmable blockchains is going to be Ethereum, of course. So I'm scrolling down to this pie chart right here. So Near, I guess this is kind of like a very rough approximation of the Web3 world, right? But Near would be like I'm in this pie chart, I'm classifying Near as like a variant of Ethereum, right? I think Near is EVM compatible. I'm not too well versed on the details of how Near was built, but I think it's reusing a lot of the components that were into the stack of that's powering Ethereum. So yeah, I mean, the way I categorize it, this is a very rough way of looking at the Web3 market, but I would estimate that Ethereum, like the Ethereum platform, makes up about 88%, 87% of the Web3 kind of like platform. Like all of the things that are going on in this world, I would estimate about 80, high 80% it's running on top of Ethereum's platform. And then there's a handful of smaller platforms that are competing with Ethereum: Cardano, Solana, VeChain, Hedera, Stellar, Tezos, Algorand. And right now, Ethereum has, I think at the time of writing, this is like about 2 weeks old, but I think Ethereum has about maybe 500,000 daily active addresses. And I don't know how many of those are automated, how many of those are shared amongst the same people, but some of the smaller chains, have significantly less daily active use. So Algorand, like for example, would have like 30,000 daily active addresses on mainnet. And yeah, the thesis behind Caligo is it's an app that allows you to interact with these systems via a clickable interface, relying less on coding knowledge and abstracting away as much complexity as possible. So there's similar tools that are already in the space. For example, there's ThirdWeb. I don't know if everybody has heard of ThirdWeb. They were invested in by Mark Cuban, Gary Vee, maybe you know some of these characters, but they've raised, I think, $24 million. This valuation stuff in venture capital is kind of like some of this stuff doesn't make any sense to me, but they have raised that amount of money. That's impressive to me. And another company that's doing a similar thing would be a company like Morales. They've raised $40 million. Some of the people that have invested or given money to Morales would be companies like Coinbase. So yeah, so Caligo is an app that lowers the barrier of entry for being able to interact with blockchain systems. So you would enter the application, and when you arrive in the application, you're going to be given an overview of the last block being pumped out by the blockchain you're connected to. So for those who don't know, I'm guessing everybody knows here for the most part, but each time the state of a particular blockchain updates, it updates on a per block basis, right? So every time somebody wants to edit data or change some data that's sitting on a blockchain, that request to update the state of the blockchain or edit some data on the blockchain will get written to in these batches called blocks. So every blockchain has its own time as far as how often it writes, aka how much time goes by before each batch of changes gets actually written to the database. And you'll see this number incrementing, right? So this is Algorand we're connected to right now, but you could come over to the settings section and you could choose which blockchain you want to interact with. So I only have Algorand live at the moment right now. My next goal is to start rolling out to Ethereum. I showed you the pie chart. Ethereum is like the majority of the market. Maybe I'll add Near here down the road. Maybe it wouldn't be too much work after I integrate with Ethereum. Maybe Near's API is very similar, but you would select the blockchain you want to interact with, and then each blockchain has different versions of it. So it's just like if you come from like a Web 2 background, you would have the production version of your site, and then you obviously, or for those who are familiar with software, you don't want to necessarily make edits or do development on your live site. So you'll have a different copy of your system. Maybe it'll be called staging, maybe it'll call dev. So in the blockchain world, it's similar, right? So you'll have like the mainnet, which is the live version of the blockchain that you're interacting with. And then you have different versions that you can do more experimental things with and test on. And then if you want to interact with a blockchain, you're going to need a wallet, right? A wallet is like kind of like your email and password if you're coming from like a traditional background where if you've never used a blockchain. So you could choose your blockchain, choose the network, which copy of the blockchain you want to interact with, aka either testnet or mainnet, and then you choose which wallet you want to link to the app, and then your wallet can have more than one account in it. So you choose the particular account. Your account is kind of like your username or your email if you're coming from like a Web 2 background. So I have selected this account right here, and then you can come over to the contracts library. Then I have contracts that you can interact with. Contracts, for those who don't know it, this is like apps that you can run on top of a blockchain. So this contract, for example, is for doing an escrow agreement. And I pre-fill the contract with templated variables. So this is pre-filled, so you don't have to fill out a lot of information. And then I provide YouTube videos for how to use everything as well on the side here if you're interested to find out more. You would click create contract. You put in your, hold on. Right. Second. I'm just going to show you my password. This is a party all the time. There we go. All right, then I've launched an app. I didn't have to write any code. I've launched an application on top. And then your transactions, for those who don't know, with the blockchain world, transactions, this is every time you have an interaction with the blockchain, it gets written to the database, the blockchain database. It's like a untamperable proof of everything that you've done on the blockchain. So when somebody was like, you know, they gave out POAPs at the beginning. POAP is, for those who don't know, it's like a proof of attendance protocol. So pretty much it's going to record, it's going to put an entry on the blockchain that you were here at this event. So, you know, assuming that Near is going to be here 20, 30 years down the line, you'll have proof that you were at this event. So that's what a POAP is for. It's just writing that you were at this event onto the blockchain. So anyways, your transactions, this is your history on the blockchain. So you can see that we've created a contract, and I provide forms that make it easy for you to deploy your own contracts. You know, you don't have to write any code. I've templated out the contracts. And then after you've deployed them, the platform also gives you widgets for interacting with them, right? So this is what the platform looks like when you're interacting with the contract after it's been deployed, right? So all of these buttons here are the different methods that you can call on the contract to do different things. I'll give a live demo right now. I'm kind of like rambling a lot, but I guess I should probably leave it here for questions. Does anybody have any questions? Is this like, yeah, I mean, I should probably, just to be interactive, but yeah, hold on. I think Tad needs to take a good look at Pagoda Dev Console. Yeah, all good, yeah. Cool. All right, well, it's I don't hear anybody saying anything. It's like quiet. I don't know if I'm talking to myself.
No, we're out here.
Okay,
People
cool.
can put questions and comments. You got about maybe 3 minutes left before we have to move on to the next presenter. So maybe if there's one key thing you wanted to show off, yeah, maybe do that.
Yeah, let me do a demo. So let's say you wanted to do an escrow agreement, right? So the blockchain, obviously, it's not good for running all types of apps, all types of, you know, yeah, all types. It's not good for running all types of software, all types of apps. There's specific things that a blockchain is going to be good for. Like, for example, if you're going to do an escrow agreement. So let's say I wanted to buy something expensive off of you, and I want to mitigate the risk associated with sending you a large amount of money. So I could use a contract. A contract is just another name for like an app, right? So I'll launch a new app that's going to help me manage or mitigate my risk of sending you this large amount of money and not getting in exchange what I'm sending you the money for. So here I'm setting up a contract where I have certain payments configured. This is the total price I'm paying. I don't want to spend a lot of money, so I've only made it 20 cents, but this would be like a more realistic application would be, let's say I'm buying a business off of you, or I'm buying like a car off of you, or a valuable item off of you, or I'm buying a house off of you. So, and then here I can choose the stable coin that I want to make the payments in, right? So this is like US dollars, because you can move dollars on a blockchain as well, right? And then I'll put in the ID that represents the buying party, and then the ID that represents the selling party. And then these are the milestone dates. So let's create the contract, and I'm going to go fast because I don't have much time. So I'm just going to go through everything, and I'll highlight a couple of things, but hopefully you get the gist of maybe why this platform might be useful down the line. Right now it's early days, but anyways, so here I'm using Algorand for this demo. So Algorand has a protocol that's a little bit different to other blockchains. But in order to use the blockchain, you have to put a deposit on the blockchain, right? So if you want to use a particular app, you have to put a deposit while you're using the app onto the blockchain. And you get that deposit back when you're done using the app. So now what I'm doing is I've created a contract that can hold the money, right? Let's say that I'm going to buy a house off of you for $1 million, right? So now I'm going to send the first payment, right? Let's say we're going to break the payment into like $1 million and $1 million. The house is worth like $2 million or something like this, right? So what happened here? Uh-oh. All right, hold on 1 second. Save. This is good. All right. I love messing up in demos. It teaches me like what I'm doing wrong. All right, so I used an account that didn't have any money in it. All right, so I switched over to an account that does, I believe. So if I send this, check, hopefully this works. Then, yeah. All right, and then if this doesn't work, we'll end it here. But if it does, I'll be able to have a successful demo. Fingers crossed. All right, yeah, so this account has money in it. So I'm sending the first, let's say I'm sending the first $1 million, right? So it's a public ledger, right? So you'll be able to see here, right? This is a blockchain. You can see this number has incremented to include the first payment. So now this lets you know that I have the money, right? At least enough of the money for you to know that I'm serious, right? So each party can leave notes on the blockchain as well. So let's say that something were to go awry, you could have notes on the blockchain that are tamper-proof and that you could use in court. So you don't have to hire a lawyer, right? Let's say that midway through the contract, you want to change some of the terms. Let's say that I find like a hole in the roof, or like I find that the car I want to buy off you, or whatever the property buying off of you is damaged in some way. So maybe I want to ask for a discount, right? So I can adjust the terms of the contract here. And what's some other features that we can do? Yeah, I mean, hopefully that gives you the gist of what this is. So let's say I really like what I'm going to buy off you. I'm buying your house, or I'm buying a car off you, or something like very valuable. I've checked it out. I've sent you an initial amount of money, so you can sue me, right, to lock up the money, and in case I do something wrong or I damage the property while I'm assessing it or inspecting it. I sent the money. I really like what I want to buy off of you. So you can see this green outline highlights what I'm buying off of you. And then now you should be handing over the asset to me, right? So I sent all the money, right? You haven't gotten the money yet. The money's being held in the smart contract. So until you give me the thing that I'm paying for, the money's going to sit here. And if you don't give me what I've sent the money for, right? I can say I want to go to court. And because we leave notes on the blockchain that are tamper-proof, right? We can upload images, notes, screenshots, blah, 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 right? We can go to court, we can make a case, and the rightful party can be, sent back the money that's locked up in the contract. So let's say that everything went smooth. This timeline widget is showing how time is progressing, right? So after we pass by the closing date, right? This is the date that the agreement should have ended. I should have sent all the money to the seller, and the seller should have given me over the asset that I'm paying for. So when this time elapses, the seller will be able to withdraw their money, right? Nobody had any issues. There was plenty of time to, record on the blockchain if anybody had any issues. The seller withdraws their money and everybody goes home happy, And so this is a business right now. I don't know if you've ever heard of like title and escrow companies. So this is something, this is right now. Time to go.
Yeah. Just want to be respectful of everyone's time, but really appreciate the demo. It was really clean interface. And I think Matthias had some comments that maybe you can talk and chat about, but next up was ZK Space, but Andrew, you said
I'm not sure if anyone from ZK is here right now, but I do see Jesse from Certic. I'm not sure if you're able to speak.
Are you prepared to speak?
Yes, I am. I'm filling in for a different team member today, so I'm not sure I have a super comprehensive presentation, but yeah, I can definitely give the gist of what we do at Certic and introduce everybody to our business and our what we do.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. And floor is yours. You have 15 minutes.
Cool. Okay. So Certic is a blockchain security company. The core of our business is smart contract auditing, which we have a team of more than 100 auditors who will go through every line of code in a project, compare it against known vulnerabilities, examine it for some more novel vulnerabilities depending on the design of the platform. We've audited, I think, nearly 4,000 Web3 projects. So quite a few. Yeah, there you go, 3,680. Secured $364 billion in market capitalization. So yeah, we have a pretty extensive proprietary database of vulnerabilities. We also use automated tools to give a first pass to auditing. We have, so the security leaderboard is the main page we've got here, which ranks projects according to their security. At the top there, you got Polygon, who we've audited a few times. If you head down to just click on Polygon, take you through the dashboard, this is a retail focused dashboard. We also have some more institutional tools, but these are meant to give retail users basically an insight into the security of platforms, which I think everyone would agree is a pretty major consideration. Last year, $3.7 billion lost to hacks, rug pulls, exit scams, all sorts of security incidents and exploits in Web3. So I think we think, obviously, as a security company, we think security is one of the most important aspects for adoption, and just building the sort of trust in these systems that people require in order to adopt them, to use them, to get the kind of adoption that we want to see. It's not always easy because, you know, smart contracts are open source, Ethereum, other blockchains are all open source, but the vast majority of people don't know how to read a smart contract audit. I don't. I'm not an engineer. So I think sending the message, communicating the security of a project to users is a really important dimension of what we do. Skynet there is this page here. So Polygon top of the leaderboard, a 95 out of 100 trust score, which reflects their audits, their Skynet, they've and just the sort of market and social dynamics of their platform. We also have a number of other tools, including a big one that we've been sort of pushing recently and that's seen some good adoption is KYC. So probably everyone is familiar with KYC requirements for signing up to an exchange using different centralized services generally, and that can be a pretty big burden on users, especially those who come from countries where they don't necessarily have the same easily accessible identification as in Europe, the US, other countries. So what we've done is sort of flipped it around. This is KYC for projects, for the team members behind projects. Obviously, anonymity is a big part of Web3, and it definitely has its uses. I think a lot of people recognize the value of having Satoshi Nakamoto be anonymous, pseudo-anonymous. But when you're launching a project and you want to build trust, you want to start building a community, it can help a whole lot to sort of publicly stand behind your project, to go through this comprehensive but very private KYC process, which allows you to demonstrate that you are who you say you are, you have the track record that you say you have, and all this information is verified by our team of former law enforcement, former intelligence analysts, and the end result is a KYC badge, which we got gold, silver, and bronze, depending on the different verification level. So yeah, I think that this is a really powerful tool for up and coming new projects to start building trust with their community when they don't necessarily have a whole lot of track record, which is understandable, but users want to know where they're putting their money, that it's a reputable team, all those sorts of things. So yeah, the KYC process has been a really good thing, and I don't have exact figures on how many teams we've gone through this process with, but it's been a good collaborative one. If you just hover over products at the top top left there, sorry. We do all sorts of audits, smart contract audits, L1 audits. We audited Aptos, about 8 different aspects of the base layer. Formal verification is another tool that we use. It's actually, so our 2 founders are professors of computer science, Ivy League professors of computer science. CEO Ronghui is a professor at Columbia University, and CertiK, the name actually stands for Certified Kernel. And that's the certification of these kernel systems is done with formal verification. So our founders really pioneered the application of formal verification to smart contract auditing. So that forms another important part of our comprehensive auditing approach. Yeah, different ecosystems there on the right. We've audited quite a few. Penetration testing, another service, sort of offensive testing. Then we've got so quite a number of retail focused tools, and then also advisory services and security consulting to teams. So yeah, really all aspects of Web3 security are what we're going for. And we're currently in the process of launching Skynet for Community, which is just an updated platform that covers a lot more projects than the previous Skynet version. So what I showed you before was really only available to projects that had been audited by CertiK, but obviously there are a lot of projects that haven't been audited by CertiK, and users deserve just as much insight into their security as in any other. So yeah, Skynet for Community covers the majority of Web3 projects audited by CertiK or not audited by CertiK, which I think is a really great addition to the service. Seeing a question in the chat about the cost of a smart contract audit. That's a good question. It really depends on the complexity of the code, the different services that you want. I mean, well, yeah, I don't want to name any exact figures. I think it really does depend on the needs of the client. But yeah, get in touch with us to get an exact quote. I don't want to throw out figures that aren't really going to be accurate for the majority of projects.
Also, let me know if you'd like to navigate anywhere on the screen.
For sure. I think, I mean, if you head over to the resources page, I'm actually content marketing manager, so I'll promote this. We've got some good, we put out a lot of technical blog posts, educational blog posts. That rug pull report there examined a lot of like the common threads between different exit scams, rug pulls. A lot of the time, users sort of, they hear about it when it's too late, once it's already rug pulled. So yeah, that report identifies a few of the common trends, a few of the things to look out for. So education of retail users is also a big part of our mission. We work with projects the vast majority of the time, but then also sort of sending the message of what security in Web3 means and why it's important. That's what this resources page is here for. The secure smart programming and fun. See that? So we do different ecosystems, different programming languages, different blockchains. Yeah, I think that's probably my pitch. Web3 security is what we do. We're always expanding the range of services that we offer. Matthias, when is CertiK going to launch a security certification for developers? That is a good question. I imagine you're talking about like a sort of like smart contract programming course that a developer could go through and receive that certification. I'm not sure we have anything planned exactly on that horizon, but it's a good question, and I think that's part of the mission too. We currently have a few team members in Dubai filming a Coursera course on blockchain security. So yeah, I think that's we do target a lot of content towards developers, but yeah, I don't think at the moment we have a certification program that we're doing for developers.
Super cool. I don't want to stop you, but I think we're also running on time. So I'd like to pass it over to Rahul.
Sure, yeah, no, that's fine by me. Thank you for your time.
We'll also open up the floor to questions at the end of the call too. So like everyone can get a chance to ask the questions that you might have thought of during the call for another one of the speakers. So we'll have the time allotted at the end of the call. So Rahul.
On my screen?
Yeah, you should be able to. Let me know if you have any issues.
Yeah. Here. Okay, should be a Figma. You guys see it?
Not yet for me. Oh, there it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. Everything good just before I get started?
Yep, screen's good. I can see your face. Big smile. Yeah, good to
Awesome. Cool. All right. So hi, I'm Rahul, and I'm working on Andromeda. We are building governance intelligence for DAO delegates. So we want to provide signal, speed, and simplicity to delegates in order to accelerate the DAO governance process. My friend Trey and I have been working on this for a few months now, so we're still pretty early, but we are absolutely certain that what we're building is going to help catalyze Web3 adoption by making governance more accessible and just faster. I have experience building a DAO and working with 40 plus DAOs, and I've been in the DAO space since 2020. I also am a designer and developer, and I've worked in VC for a little bit. I had an internship, but I have like sort of business mindset when it comes to DAO operations. And Shreyas has sort of had experience in the blockchain industry as well. Very quickly, this is an overview of all the main points. We want to provide an opinionated workflow for delegates to be able to receive all the data that they need to take in order to vote, in order to understand proposals. We want to be able to provide visualizations for the most common sort of measures or metrics of proposals, track all the sort of topics, authors, keywords, use GPT-4 for making things more readable, and just really provide something that I think many delegates and other participants in the DAO governance system have to spend a lot of time and effort for. And here's one example, right? Meet Anna. Anna is a delegate. She loves DAOs. She really wants to commute, but she's facing a lot of issues. Mainly that she's confused, right? She has a lot of
Kind of for everyone too, right?
Yeah, unfortunate.
Give it a second, hopefully, and he jumps back in.
It
still with
looks
us?
like, yeah, sorry about that. It looks like Zoom crashed.
All good. You can keep it moving
Okay.
along. Yeah, another 9-10 minutes.
Yep. Okay. Everything good? Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
he'd stop
Okay.
there.
All right. So she's confused. I think we got to that. She's tired. You know, she's spending all this time trying to track down all this data that she needs to understand these proposals. And she's busy. Vetting proposals is not very productive, especially when you're spending hours on one proposal and you have 100 in the pipeline that you have to get through in like a certain, a week or so. And this sort of gets to the point that 9% of voters participate in DAO governance simply because there's so much friction involved in the process. We want to eliminate all this friction with signal speed and simplicity, right? All of their data in one place, summaries, credentials, KPIs. We have to be able to provide them with the proposals, allow them to filter, sort through proposals with minimal noise, and then a highly readable UI UX and visualizations over text whenever possible. So here's another quick screenshot of our demo. We want to be able to provide all the sort of things that a delegate would possibly need, right? Everything from outreach, being able to source more delegation power from other people with like a public profile, voting directly from our platform, or links to Snapshot or Tally where they can vote over there. Deliberation is our main focus for now, providing this sort of data warehouse that sources data from all these different places, whether it's on the blockchain or from Tally, which has like a profile system using their API. Visualizations of analysis clearly so that they're able to understand things quickly, and providing new data as well. So using AI to measure readability, measure structure, whether things have like a logical structure, because some proposals are just like unreadable, like it's sort of all noise. And so being able to filter through that can be very useful. And then finally, just with being able to review all the proposals at once in a single feed. Here's a very brief demo. I actually think I might have to not click on this. I think it's like an older version, but maybe I'll just do that later. So very simply, like, we allow for complex analysis in a very short amount of time, right? So if Anna is a Olympus DAO member, she wants to identify proposals that are written by ENS holders, with like investments specific, like a type of proposal with 10% projected returns and a fluff rating under 5. She could just use us and be able to find the one that she likes in minutes. Whether, as if she doesn't use Andromeda, she might go back to corporate. DAOs, I am a strong believer that DAOs are the future of human coordination, or organizations and firms are going to want to be based on the blockchain because of this public ledger and just the amount of data that DAOs produce. And we want to be, of course, in the position of using this data so that DAOs become more effective. The DAO all-time high assets under management is 138 billion. Right now, they're standing at close to 5 billion. So, people might look at that and say like, oh, that's a huge drop. I look at that as a great opportunity. Volt Capital estimated that AUM in 2030 would be 1 trillion. And my favorite example of a successful DAO is Constitution DAO. I think that their main issue was just maintaining that sustainable factor. But if you look at what they did, they brought 17,000 people together to raise $45 million in 1 week. And I think that's a pretty substantial achievement. Compared to other products out there, we want to sort of be in the middle of this group of companies that provide crypto data in a very generalist manner for anybody who needs it, making it accessible, which is wonderful, but doesn't actually meet like any one specific role or purpose. And then this other side that is very like sort of DAO infrastructure, providing operations, financial support, but also still very general. And we want to be there specifically for delegates at this point. And we think this role-specific strategy will allow us to benefit DAOs more effectively than this generalist approach, providing them with like an opinionated workflow, and eventually like by improving this one specific delegate role, we can then move to proposers and then DAOs as a whole. Right now, we're going to be focusing on working with delegates of all sizes, so university clubs. Since I, am currently a student, I have a lot of connections with university clubs. Large individual delegates also are like a big focus, and then these sort of meta delegate companies. I have to change these logos around, but companies like Gauntlet and Metropolis and many others that have this sort of meta delegation from DAOs. Many of them also DAO tooling companies. So that's just about it. I can go into appendix, but I'm interested in getting questions as well. So I am gonna stop it right here. Thank you.
Awesome. So I don't know if ZK Space ended up making it, but thank you to all the speakers who came. Again, this is recorded, and I'm gonna publish and clean this up and post this on a few socials. But let's get some questions going. Just wrap things up, and then I have a closing announcement, and we'll go on from there. So anyone can put in chat or come off mute. I have a few questions, but I'll let the audience go first.
Don't all go at once.
Rahul, do you have a demo yet of your product by chance?
Yeah, actually, it's just super just like a demo, but
yeah, we have two people looking for it. I think it'd be nice. I'm interested in it for sure.
So this is just like a demo, I guess, right? So over here you sort of pull in all the data from the snapshot, or in this case it's nouns. So actually this is the raw data, I guess. Nouns fair is at this, blah, 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 blah. And as you can see, it's like it's just text. It's literally text. It's just markdown text, some images, right? People have to go through this, right? People have to read through this, understand what the outcomes are going to be, right? Whereas we provide literally the numbers, right? So summary, right? This is exactly what's happening. We use AI. We understand structure, reputation, operations, some KPIs over here. You can read the proposal here if you want, but like, come on. So this is just super brief. We have way more in the pipeline that we want to get through, but that's the overview, I guess.
It's a super cool tool.
Thank you.
Cool. I had earlier, Certic, there was a question. Is Jesse still here by chance? Did he drop off?
No, still here.
Okay. Yeah. Were you prepared to talk about cost by chance, or just? I know there's quite a few security auditors now, and there's different approaches, obviously, centralized versus decentralized auditing. Just the cost and kind of what you're looking for, I guess.
Yeah, so like I sort of touched on it. I think the cost really does depend on the client's needs. Bigger projects are going to require more resources, take longer, or require more auditors. So whereas smaller ones can be done quicker, shorter time frame. Cost, I think it really depends. I'm not on the cost side of things, so I can't give too much insight into that. But I think getting in touch with us and working with us to meet your needs we're super flexible. I think the benefit of having the biggest team in Web3 auditing means that we can handle these really big projects like some of the biggest in the last few years, as well as the smaller ones on a tight turnaround. So yeah, I don't feel, I'm not the one to comment on the exact cost of an audit, but it's a competitive cost, and the flexibility that you get by going with us, I think is the reason that we stand out for 3,600 companies.
Cool. I have another question. This is for Rahul, actually. So, how are you leveraging, I guess, language processing, or like say there's like just lots of contracts coming out, like say you had 20 DAOs participating, are you manually going through each vote, or how are you kind of scaling this up? Are you using language processing like a GPT model, or what are your plans for that long term?
Yeah, so that depends on the metric that we're measuring, but for things like structure, for things like readability, we are using GPT for now. We have like an internal guide as to what like a successful, like a successfully readable or sort of well-structured logical proposal looks like, and we're comparing it to that. Over time, like for other metrics, we might be using different AI models because GPT doesn't work the best for things when it comes to like, I guess just like more mathematical like computation. But we have, for financial analysis, for example, right? For the investment type of proposal, the one that you guys saw was reputation, or not reputation, for partnerships rather. It was like a partnership type. But for investment type, we'll be understanding the sort of smart contract change. So like a swap or like a transfer to, I'm losing my words right now, but like the program, right? And then measuring or modeling what that impact will have on the treasury, right? So for that, that's going to require financial models, and we're working on that too. And yeah, so it comes down to like the metric.
And Paul, I had a quick question for you. I saw from Made for Gamers, I was actually I did a podcast earlier with someone developing a gaming app, which was like an e-learning gaming app. Is it good for like beginners? Like he was an experienced dev. Is it just tooling recommendation, or does it like kind of train you on how to make the game? Does it kind of help find beta users for the game? Like to what extent does it help the developer or the builder?
As in the platform that we're building?
Yes, sir.
It's very much meant to be an entire ecosystem eventually. So we're working with quite a few partners to actually create game templates. And a few of the ones that are actually onboarding already have templates as well. So for creators that kind of, we're seeing a lot of creatives actually wanting to build games, not necessarily game engineers. So there's definitely a lot of room, I think, at the market for speed up tools that are more friendly towards non-technical game creators. And yeah, as I say, we are kind of onboarding providers like that, as well as people that have different templates. And the other thing that we're looking at doing, which we're quite excited about, is kind of bundling templates, infrastructure, tools into plugins that can literally just be dropped straight into Unity and Unreal and Godot and other game engines over time. So for us right now, the sweet spot is game engineers, smaller studios that are looking to kind of move into Web3, but ultimately the short answer is yes, we do want to be able to provide as much value to people that are just starting out and learning how to build games. The awesome thing right now, I think, is I'm starting to see so many people use AI for really, really cool mini games, and I actually just earlier somebody shared a link with me that Unity, the game engine, is actually going to be doing an AI beta. So I've signed up for that because I'm really curious to see what that looks like. But conversational AI in game development is going to be really, really interesting, because it just ultimately, like, anybody can be an artist if you're good at prompts nowadays. It's very much heading towards that in gaming as well. So very exciting time to be in this space.
And you had a question in chat from Matthias, I believe. Matthias.
Can you talk a bit about the tech providers you're reaching out to? Yeah, so look, I think with regards to, so Matthias has put a question there regarding what tech providers we're reaching out to and specified game engines. So we're very much agnostic. So we're not tied to any specific game engine or any specific ecosystem overall. We are first and foremost launching with Near, so obviously our focus has been with Near. So groups like Few and Far, when it comes to NFT minting and marketplace capabilities, they're also going to be creating a bit of a launch pad. Then there's quite a few people on the kind of marketplace side, Elixir. A lot of the actual providers that we're working with are also multi-chain or chain agnostic, not specifically just one ecosystem. A group that is doing interesting things in this space would be Chainlink, Chain Stack as well. They've got really interesting gaming use cases. They're already on Near, but I don't think they're on Near with all of the gaming products as of yet. But as far as the actual game engines are concerned, the only one that we have a direct relationship with at this stage is Unity. Unity has a really interesting, let's call it metaverse team. They're very actively been focusing on virtual worlds and interoperability tools. We've been playing in that space ourselves as well. But yeah, it's very much a mix. The aim for us is that we want to be able to offer anything from inception all the way through to distribution of your game. So I mean, that means obviously that we've got a lot of onboarding to do. But ultimately, that's why we want to create these integration layers to make it as simple as possible. It's one thing that I probably didn't show very clearly on the slides, which would be much better through a demo, is how easy it is actually for a tech provider to simply just integrate into our platform and extend to market. But for us, the initial kind of how we get to these providers is rather via the ecosystems, and then over time just onboarding more and more.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to Consensus at the BAF, the Blockchain Acceleration Foundation. They're another group that we work closely with. I'm a part of, and we have a big house. We'll probably do one of these founder share outs, and I'm sure there'll probably be a lot of people there that are creative types that want to build games. So I'll definitely, if it's more live on April or has demo proc in April, let me know. Put it out Consensus at NYNFT where I'm speaking, because it's cool. Yeah, it's a cool use case. Ben, you can come on screen and share and talk if you want before you go.
I think he jumped out.
Ah, dang, a little assassin. All right, Tad, I'll give you one question before we close out, and I have a closing announcement. But how do you decide which contracts, I guess, you're going to deploy within your project? Especially someone, it seems like it's a no-code solution, so you're probably targeting people that want to deploy contracts but don't want to write it, I guess, or use another competitive site for it. So I guess, are you just targeting the escrow use case first, or what's your kind of goal right now?
Yeah, so I have another company that does software development. So I'm using this as kind of like a portfolio piece to funnel into me doing custom software development. So I recently did this contract, which I thought was maybe a cool demo to allow people to see kind of like the utility of this. So this is another project I got paid to do last week. Similar concept. So you would enter the application, you're given a templated contract. This one is for doing social media marketing payouts. So you place a bounty, right? A certain amount of money in a smart contract that will get paid to a destination address when a particular social media post reaches a certain amount of views or comments or likes, etc. So it's just based on demand. But I guess another thing I should mention is the platform is free. The platform is open source. The platform is, do whatever you want with it as it's like completely free. So I guess it's just like based on if people have feedback for like good ideas, if I don't have any ideas, I'll just do whatever I want. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, the escrow idea I came up with was that was just like, I had a really bad escrow experience. Like, I'm not going to ramble too much about that, but I mean, yeah, it's just like you get an idea, you be creative, you have fun with it, right? I mean, that's definitely a component of it. But yeah, if there is a clear use case, or if somebody's paying or comes up with an idea, then obviously that's something to explore. But yeah, very fluid. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, the platform is completely open source. So if somebody wants to write a contract and add it onto the platform, that's the way I would see it scale, right? It's not going to just be me writing all the contracts. Eventually it would scale to be like a marketplace for people to post their own contracts.